Hello everyone, first of all let's have a look at the setup. So 0.15 bottom with a 16 LWG hook, and I've also got 8 number 8 stots for the jigger. Lots of videos online about jiggers, I'm not really going to go through it, but long story short, it's just a bolt rig. The line goes through the middle of the floor quite freely, and you just lower it and the fish takes the bait, and that's about it. Anyway, I'm on Long Island, never won on this pond. Should have won last year, went over on a net, that was the end of that. Determined to put that right.
Well.
I've won on Lily last time out, another pond I'd not won on, and I really want to get a win on this. So I went on this pond last Tuesday and I came second, missed out by I think £4 or £5. Booked the day off work, determined to put things right that I'd maybe got wrong in my last match on here. So let's see how we get on. I know it's going to be really tough to try and win this match. Andy Fable, who's also been battling it out with me the last few weeks, been in the top 3. He's in the middle on the opposite bank, and he is jigging as well. That's not something I've seen him do. Obviously seen me doing it the last week or two, putting in good weights, and he's used his head. He's thought, you know what, I'll match fire with fire. So yeah, it's all going on right now, and I'm keeping an eye on him. You've just seen me have a little look there. I'm constantly watching, seeing if anyone's catching it at a better rate than me. But ultimately, you can only control what is happening in your peg. I can't control what size fish they catch or how regular they catch. I can only control what is happening in my space. So as much as you want to see how they're doing, and I think the only thing it does is put pressure on you, really I've just got to control and manage my space as much as I can. So I'm going to try and feed as accurately as possible and be as efficient as possible to try and get the weight I think I'm going to need.
Good effort, lad. 10 out of 10 in Olympics for that pal. Come on again.
Now I reckon Gary will be good for about 160, if not more. I've seen that peg do some really big weights, and Gary finds big weights really easy. I mean, look at the guy, he's like a bodybuilder. No pun intended. But yeah, and I know Andy Fable equally, he'll be good for like up to 150, I would think, in that area. So I'm saying to myself, if I want to win this, I'm going to need at least £170, which I've never done on this pond. I mean, I got 174, 172, one of the two on Lily, on the last video that I did. That's my best weight I've had at LodgeFarm. So there is lots of anglers that have done £200 plus weights, but I've not hit that bracket yet, and it's not something I particularly worry about. Like I said, you can only control what's happening in your peg. But I know I'm gonna have to put in probably the best weight I've ever had on here if I'm gonna win it, especially against these anglers who are on the pegs that they're on. So this elastic is a MAP 10 to 12 elastic. I really like it. I've had some big weights out on it and I've had no problems, and I've had some real big fish out on it as well, like £12 plus, so it's doing the job. I've got 3 jiggers set up, one that's about 5.5 feet, one that's 3.5 feet, that's the one I've been catching the most on, and one that's about 1.5 foot. I've not really caught on that one too much, I'll be honest. So this one is proving to be really effective. So all that's happening is basically I just keep feeding all the time and follow these fish up and down. So when you think they might have gone or it's gone really quiet, I'll probably go deeper. So if I'm fishing the shallow one, I'll go deeper, and vice versa. If I'm fishing the deeper one and it goes quiet, the fish have probably come up, so I'll go on to the shallow one. And it is as simple as that. Other than that, keep feeding. You can catch them on the slap as well. I caught quite a few fish throughout the match where I've slapped it 3 or 4 times, lowered it really slowly, and they've absolutely hammered it on way down. That's another good little tip if you're ever getting new to jigging. I'm really new to it. It's something I'm really enjoying, and I will continue to do until it stops working, because it is absolutely brutal. If you're enjoying the video so far, please give it a like. It really does have a big impact on my videos. And if you haven't subscribed already, please hit subscribe. It's completely free, and I don't want you to miss any of my future videos. Thank you. So that was a perfect example of where I'd slapped a few times, slowly lowered it, and you've just seen that elastic absolutely rip out. And when you're feeding it good enough, and especially towards the end of the match, that's pretty much how you catch majority of your fish. In the last hour or two, the fish are really on it, and you can build a big weight really quickly. Now you can see that I put that fish in the second net. Now I click my weights to £40 per net. The limit here is 55. So with that, I know I'm going to be safe. But because I'm on the second net, that means I've had an absolutely amazing first hour or two. Now I've started recording this after the first couple of hours because it was that hot. The GoPro just kept switching itself off. So there weren't much recording I could do. So when it's cooled down a little bit, I've managed to get it on, and here we are. But I have caught a lot of fish up to this point. I've got off to an absolutely flying start. So I said to myself, I'm going to need at least like 20 to 25 pound per hour if I'm going to be at the right rate to compete, and I'm definitely hitting that. I think on my second hour I actually put 40 pound in the net. So this net I'm on now, I complete this within 1 hour, which is one of the fastest 40 pound nets I've ever done at LodgeFarm. So this method is absolutely head and shoulders above anything I've used. You know from my other videos, I've used paste on here, I've also done slapping a lot, and I've had some really great weights, but this is definitely well beyond it. The weights are just so much easier to build with this method. Now on this pond, I definitely found that 6mm worked better than the 4, whereas on Lily I found that 4mm worked better than the 6. On average the fish in here are a lot bigger, including the F1s, so I think maybe that's why that 6mm were just a better banded bait to have on. Obviously still feeding the 4s, but like I said, the 4mm definitely works a lot better on Lily, and the 6mm definitely works a lot better on here. This is such an easy method to do. If you've not tried it before or always been against it, I mean, I'll put my hand up, I was one of those anglers. Then I would say, even if you just try it once, just in one match, see how you get on with it. and see if you still think the same. So I got my cousin on it. He was very against it. He watched my video, the last one on Lily, and I actually gave him one of my jiggers. I said, just use this in your club match. I think he went on Woodhouse Grange. So just use this. Told him how it all works. I asked him how he went on. Won the match. Nearly doubled the weight a second place. Suddenly, loves jigging. World's biggest fan now. So if you're watching this, Matt, told you it would work. So yeah, at the end of the day, match fishing is about competing. And the only reason I went on to this jigger is because Gary Brooks smashed me up in the final hour on this very lake a month or two ago by jigging. And I said to myself, that's not going to happen again. I was beating him all the way up until he pulled that jigger out. I had one fish and he had 5 or 6 fish and just beat me. And I said that is not going to happen again. So like I said earlier with Andy Fable, matching fire with fire, sometimes you have to do that. You don't have to like it, but if you want to be truly competitive, if you want to get somewhere, if you want to win your league, or if you just want your first match win, just whatever it is, this method just outperforms. I don't know how else I can tell you. You know how much I do slapping. You know how much I love that. I absolutely adore it. It's my favourite thing in the world to do. But this is just way more effective. And once you get used to it, this becomes fun too. I really enjoy catching fish. And I enjoy this method. It's not just a piece of line without a float and you're just waiting for the elastic to run out. Yes, I am waiting for the elastic to run out. But there is a lot more to it. I'm seeing when I got that bite, how I fed when I got that bite, what depth I got that bite. With a piece of line, you don't get any of that information at all. Gives me nothing, tells me nothing. The jigger gives you lots of information. It's much more effective, and you can't fail with it. You know what I mean? These fish are hooking themselves. So if you want to compete, if anybody wants to compete with me when I'm doing this, the only way they're going to do it, unless they're on an absolute flyer peg that is solid with fish, is if they do the same method. Or, you know, the overshotted float, which people can use, or even just a piece of line. But slapping is not going to compete with this method. So I'm getting some really good size F1 and carp now. The weight is really building nicely. Now I've not really seen Andy catching, and I've not heard any splashes coming from Gary. And I can't see him because the island's in the way. And to be honest with you, I'm quite glad about that. Because he can't see what rate I'm catching at. And I can't see what rate he is. And that's going to stop me from being distracted and maybe thinking, should I be doing something else? I've only set shallow rigs up. I've not even got a depth rig. I've not even done a margin. Which, considering I am on an end peg, a margin rig would definitely be a strong thing. So, but I've said to myself, no, this is it. I've come to win this match. I'm not messing about.
Absolute belter.
I'm going to make this work. And look at that F1. That's an absolute beaut. and it takes less than a minute or two to get out. That's a £2 fish straight away. Now the issue I would have if I fish in the margin is quite a lot of outgrowing reeds and leaves on it, and there's just so many snags. So yeah, that left margin would be a bonus if I went down there and, you know, started to catch on it, but I think the risk reward is just too much. When I'm catching a fish or chuck on this, why would I leave it to get fish that may be bigger but no guarantee? There's a lot of fish that live in the corners of these ponds which are tiny, so I could actually get fish that are smaller than this and lose loads of rigs, loads of hook lengths, because they're the worst ones for getting you in snags, let's be honest. So I decided, no distraction, I'm just going to stick to this, and that is it. I'm also now in the third keep net, so I've definitely got £80 as we speak. So far I am buzzing. You know, 2-3 hours in, I've got £80. I've said to myself, 160 will probably do it. So at the halfway point, I've got £80. Do the same again, I've hit 160. So this is giving me more incentive to just stick with this, because this is getting the right amount of weight per hour that is needed to get what I think will win me this match. So I've definitely decided this is it all the way to the end. Absolutely not getting out another rig and doing a corner margin rig or anything like that. This is it. This is the formula, and I'm not going to change from that, regardless how well anybody else is doing. You've got to respect the fact that there's lots of really good anglers on this pond. I've also got Bloomer, who's in on an amazing corner peg. I've been beat off that peg so many times. I mean, Tank, he won the last few off that same corner peg that Bloomer is on, and he had £130 plus both times. So I know that the other anglers will probably, majority, be getting over £100 because they're really good anglers, and you have to respect that. But I know if I hit that 160 plus, I'm in a top 2 position, and that puts me, you know, in the running for a winning peg. And that's what I need to focus on. Forget what everybody else is getting, forget what everybody else is doing. Concentrate on this rate per hour that I'm hitting, and the rest will look after itself. Now I've just started to notice that there's some carp stealing pellets as I'm catapulting them in, and the group is getting bigger. You know, at first it was 1 or 2, then it's 5 or 6, 7, and I do put out a mugging rig at some point, which we'll see when we get to it, just to try and steal what I can. If you ever notice that, don't be afraid to pull out a different rig. You saw me do it on Lily, where I pulled out a slapping rig to get the carp out of the way, and I also have a mugging rig. It's a red hot day, you're going to see big fish cruising about. If you can mug some, they're a massive bonus. I mean, I once mugged £70 in 1 hour, and there'll be some people that have done way more than that out there. So mugging is unbelievably effective if there's big fish knocking about. So I'm just keeping an eye on that too. I don't mind them stealing the pellets, because I know they're there, and that's bringing confidence with all the other fish as well. But I'm not going to keep letting them get their own way. At some point I am going to have a little go for them.
Good fish.
You just saw there one of the carp spook really easy, so when I've hooked this fish, that spooked one of the big carp that's stealing the pellets. So they're really getting close now to where I'm pinging in my bait, and it's definitely going to be time soon to start having a go at them.
Come on, pal.
So that is a couple of carp on the trot now, and that'll be because that presence of all those carp above is drawing more and more, and they're just diving down and hitting those pellets. Now I don't mind, I'm more than happy to get carp. There's big F1s in here, but the carp are bigger, so absolutely if I can get carp I will happily take those. But this does start to become more and more present. As them carp were knocking about up in that surface, I definitely was starting to hit more and more carp.
Got some fate on him for a little fish, this carp. Come on, mate, play a game. Play a game, mucker. That's what we gotta do, it's had a face lock. Landing net.
So that carp put up a mega fight. There is some really hard fighting fish at LodgeFarm, so no surprise there. The landing net handle just went apart on me. Oh my god. It felt like the gods were against me at that point. Luckily, didn't lose the fish and the landing net handle, because that would have been really bad. But it happens sometimes.
Come on, pal.
Another really hard fighting carp. You can see that that fourth net has now made appearance. So I've got £120 on the clicker at least. This is a really nice fish to start putting in that net. I'm absolutely cooking on gas right now. That jigger was barely in the water, literally seconds. I've got a fish. Not a huge one, but still, it's a couple of pounds in no time. So I just chucked some pellets in the keep net because they kept trying to jump out. So I find if you chuck some pellets in, they dive down for it and it settles them down a bit. And as I've done that, I've hooked a carp, or whatever this is, at the same time. I'd like to think that that's the carp gods rewarding me. Okay, so this is me trying to mug some, so you can see with the lines and the ripples on the surface how many carp there is there now. There is loads. But I need to make sure that A, they want to take the bait, and B, they're worth, they're worth going for. Are they big enough? Now I've put on an 11mm pellet. That's a big pellet, but the fish in here are huge, so if they are worth getting, they'll have no problem taking this pellet.
Got you, you little git.
So that carp has took an 11mm pellet. It's probably £3 on its best day. So to me, it's not worth me messing about for £3 fish, especially when I'm catching them far bigger on the jigger. So I'm going to leave that now. I'm not going to bother trying to get these fish that are up in the water stealing, because they're not worth me messing up my feeding routine with this jigging. So straight back on the jigger. We had to go. I mean, if that was a £10 fish, I would just continue to mug, because they're the fish that I want, but they're not. So got to use your noggin a little bit, straight back on the jigger, and continue with better fish. And look at this beaut.
Hey, the ghost. How are you doing?
I was literally just about to slap the pole 2 or 3 times and it took the jigger at the same time. So another prime example of when fish start to get used to your feeding pattern. So you do start to get in sync with them. You can almost tell when you're going to get a bite, and that's kind of what's happened there. To anybody who's still here after 30 minutes, thank you so much. So please tell me you've hit that like button. You've been here for half an hour. You're clearly loving the video.
Tell it to him.
Give it a like for me. So in this last hour, it was just carnage. It was I just could not get them in quick enough. With all the bait that's gone in throughout the day, I fed at least 3 bags, going into a 4th bag. I've had a lot of fish, and I've had to put in a lot of feed. I mean, I've been getting a lot of feed pinched from those carp up in water. And this is a really nice fish. And throughout this match, and throughout all the clips, you've seen some big F1, and you've seen some big carp, small fish as well. But on the whole, they tend to be at least 3 to 5 pound fish. So this method is absolutely fantastic. Like I've said before in the video, if you've not done it before, give it a go. I promise you, your weights are definitely going to escalate. Just heard me laugh a little bit there because these fish are absolutely hammering that bait now. They're almost pulling the pole under. They're hitting it that hard. And that is something I did find with this method in the few weeks I've been using it. The last hour particularly, it is just brutal.
That helps. Oh, sorry mate.
And that's it for the fishing. Now let's see how we got on.
Oh, my back, yeah. Well, I thought then. Oh, my back. Oh, my back. Oh, my hand. Oh, that's not enough. Same for everyone.
Wow.
Have you caught down here, you Mr. Wilson? 31.8.
How about what, sorry?
Have you caught down here? That's crazy, alright. Oh, yeah. Did you get your car sorted? Yeah. Yeah. Pants, your pants and everything. 46.14. Go on, fat lad, I'll pass you them down. Go back to the Ant Kingdom. 78.6.
Wow, done horrible, Craig.
I'm not walking down. What's rosation?
Basically, you just get red face and spot.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. No, you go, see, you go, see. I'll be doing some editing today.
You know.
They lost it. Oh no. Anybody think you've not done this before?
That's the first time in my entire life I've ever seen one make it back into water.
Did you get it on?
Yeah.
Hey, I got it, wouldn't I?
You would
have been like this.
Bill would have got it. I've seen him go full crocodile hunter on these.
Polar way, 29.4. Oh, kind of goes too fast. What?
Get it, Bill.
See, Bill don't mess about. You're going to be gutted if that fish cost you a section, you know.
Ooh. 43.9. They've gone back to me. 72.13. You'd have had £80. Only one net, Bill.
Oh no.
Never had dear.
Oh no.
I'll fly like this at all.
Oh
Give you a
no.
chance. Give you a chance. I'll give Toddler a gap.
Get your back.
35.6.
Right. No. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Bloody hell. Need some bigger steps.
You won't get your feet up in the floor any higher.
Get wider. Give us some room.
They'll be up here then.
Go on. There we go.
Go back down. 47.6.
11. I had a £2 fish on that 11mm pellet.
Have a look at weights. $42.3. Keep your picture holding that shotgun. They're lucky it to city boys because you riot all the time. 42. I wish you'd both go another 2 nets because you would be knackered then. Bit more than 150, Paul.
I hope so. I think I'm going to need it.
$43.5.
Margin fishes.
There's nobody can beat me on here at winter. Except Danny. I don't know. Wait, you do. That is mate.
Isn't his mate one who won it last year?
No. Kev Cook won it last year.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Big Kev.
Oh.
27.4.
Did he beat him at Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, so he sealed it anyway, didn't
Have you been up back sunbathing?
No, I've got wet through, that's why I've took them off. I've had fish 8 on it, look. It's got wet through. I don't like being wet.
38.6. I can't believe how you eggle.
he? Yeah, Rob Ward did
I
it.
come off long pole because I couldn't get no bigger than £2.
Rob Ward did it last week, didn't he, when we were on here?
Who was it?
Rob Ward.
Yeah.
$43 what? I've got more than you said.
I said 110. I only guess.
109.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Honest things.
He
I
is.
am an honest guy.
He is.
There's a very nice float.
Yeah.
Down there.
So what would that, Nick? It'd be right good if you could fish under that tree, but you can't get to it because of that overhanging branch.
Bill's bank protection is in way.
Yeah, that overhanging branch.
Not that, it's these reeds. Can't be why you can't get to it.
Oh no.
Just to sit up there, Nick.
41.11.
Oh, Dave.
Must have been small fish then, same as me, Dave. That's why I come off it.
Every time I looked up, Dave had one on.
Where they all come from, all these little carp?
I ain't bought them.
Know that.
Last lot what
We
went
do
in.
know that, Bill.
That made you chuckle, didn't it? 33.3.
Mugged them all.
Not that far from that one.
You had a Preston sponsorship?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
I noticed on my last video Preston Central.
Matt box.
37.
Matt Box that has got blue.
That'll be going next.
Sort that out. So if you have to bend down. £40 one.
How you lot, Si?
What's it, pal? I think you've been pensioning.
77.1.
And he doesn't eat fishing. That's a nice fish.
Did you get that on jigger?
Has he had you sat in the van all morning while
Banger.
we were doing draw?
No, I've been busy this morning.
Hiding your way.
Yeah.
14.10.
Wow, that's a good fish.
Jobs are outside. Bins, grass, garden,
Oh, I don't
cars.
grass.
Oh no, this is going to see.
Debbie does the
sorting
gardening.
them out, won't it?
Pardon?
This is going to see him sorting them out this morning.
£45.3.
Lucky really, I think you've got a tree to sit under.
I know, that's what I thought.
Last 2 hours it just come 33 now. I think we need to throw that puppet away.
It didn't last very long, did it?
It's not going to be any good on top pond tomorrow.
Looks a bit dodgy, that platform. It's a bit wobbly.
93.3.
Couple last hour.
It's not showing. Take your time on that. One on here. What? Take your time on top on tomorrow.
Take me time. Take me time wherever I go.
Get some good rigs.
Is it over 50 still are on there?
Yeah.
I've been fishing, I've been away for 4 days.
44.11.
Thank you.
And there we go. I've finally got that win. And not only did I get it, I've absolutely destroyed everybody else. And that's what it took. £174 for first. 109 is second place. So it's not even close. And considering Gary's on a really good peg, and he knows this place like the back of his hand, to beat him by that much, I think tells you just how good this method is. Big thank you to my international fans. And shock, the USA have beaten the Netherlands. Where did that come from? And the ladies, 4.9% on a video that did awesome views. Thank you so much. And that is it for another video. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making it. So grateful for getting that win. And so glad I could show you how it was done. I'm going to have some more videos coming up. Obviously the weather's great for it. So I'll see how many more I can get in before the winter kicks in. So be sure to subscribe and follow me on my journey. And until next time, tight lines and Siddy.
Up the T-Nooks.